Assalamualaikum. My name is Amirul Abshifi bin Johari from class INA 247. Right now, I'm going to present about my informative speech. The title is Adoption. Okay, right now I'm going to start my speech. First, my introduction. I would like to start off by telling you a story of a precious little boy conceived by parents who revolved under rave, alcohol, and drugs. He was unwanted from the start, but the mother was convinced not to get an abortion. She carried him for 9 months, but continued her habits. Afterwards, he was already born as a drug addict to 3 different substances, was passed around from family members to another for initial 6 months of life. Then, a family with no relation to him at all had already 5 girls, and yet they are longing for a boy as their child had been watching him from afar and soon held affections toward him. It's 9 months effort of endless paperwork, home, studies, lawyers, crazy families, members, stress, and only then this little boy was finally given a forever home. So here comes the question, is blood really thicker than water? For most people, this will be a complicated situation to understand. It is a thought of how is it possible to lose someone else's child, a question which still continues to batter plentiful number of people today. After all, adoption is quite an intricate process, yet it is still something that is beneficial to not just one party, but both. But we can see from the situation I've told previously, the boy knows no affection and care from his own blood relatives, yet was introduced with such emotion from a mere stranger who merely accepted his presence. Okay, right now is first point. For both adoptive family and adopted kid, adoption represents the promise of hope and the potential for new life. It offers new hope to couples and single women who have tried and tested numerous methods of conceiving but were unsuccessful due to difficulties in the process. One of the greatest joys someone can ever have been becoming a parent, and adoption ensures that you can feel the responsibility. Although the path can sometimes be determined by luck of the draw, perhaps it will be the journey that leads to fulfillment for both kid and parents. What exactly is adoption? According to the main adoption website, it means legally taking parental responsibility of a child and raising it as one's own. On the surface, this seems like a smooth process where you can get to pick a kid, raise them, and life goes on. When defined, adoption doesn't sound as complex as is it, doesn't it? But that's when people are wrong. You just don't pick a kid. It's actually more than that, and adoption process consumes a lot of time. But in the end, the longer you wait, the more it becomes worthless. Okay, right now is second point. Now you know that adoption is much more complicated than picking and raising a child, so we can proceed to benefits of adoption. Family is a group of people who love and support you regardless. They are your building block. They teach you how to love and to be loved, which leads us to the most important benefit of a child being adopted, the gain of a family. Can you imagine not having a family? Are they the reason you are who you are today? The Congressional Coalition and Adoption Institute, CCAI, states that there are 163 million orphans. The fact that 13,000 of those orphans continued from Texas alone has already been shocking news to me. So when does this conclude to? Is it actually concerning thing that our state itself had a plethora of children in need of a family? Another major benefit to an adoption education, children who lack a stability of family tend to struggle with education. The CCAI also state that an average orphan children have an IQ of 20 points lesser than child with family. not to mention 25% of all orphan children are not even equipped with high school certificate. Onwards to the benefits of being adoptive parent. As I have stated previously, adopting a child is not only beneficial to the adoptee, but to the adoptive parents. Often, one of the factors of adoption comes from bearing the fear on passing genetic disorders such as cystic fibrosis, certain types of cancers, and mental conditions such as schizophrenia and autism. Adoption allows the parent to experience the joy of having a family without having concern about their child to suffer similar condition as they do. Okay, right now is the third point. First thing first, adults need to figure out the age range and background of children for adoption. While there are plenty of families who are inclined and adopting newborns to 2 years old toddlers, there are plenty of older children at age of 3 and beyond who critically requires the help, as they only have an age limit of 18 years old before leaving the orphanage and institution as a fully fledged adult. An example of an organization in Malaysia will be Orphan Care, that provides adoption service to arrange adoption for older children, special needs children, and babies who came through their baby hatches to help guide parents out in this process. According to my government website, there are typically 2 independent yet related legal framework for adopting child in Peninsular Malaysia. One of them being is de facto registration, which is available to both Muslims and non-Muslims, and registration through the court order, which is only for non-Muslims. The parents must then go through a number of procedures in court before an adoption is made. The parents do not have access to any rights, obligations, liabilities, or duties until those have been transferred to the adoptive parent. Typically, this procedure took a considerable amount of time and sometimes even several months to complete. On the other hand, parents might also take note of considerable amount of cost in order of raising a child, on which it does not differ whether it is adoptive or biological. However, there are several additional fees to regard on behalf of the journey aside from the paperwork and legal matters, such as reaching out the potential birth months if they are still around, travel expenses, legal fees, as well as the necessities funds consisting of academic and daily sustenance. So the last one is conclusion. Now that I am informed that about urgency of preparation toward the necessities on becoming foster parents, I also insist that as adults, we should try our best on removing the family stereotypes that have been created by society. Today, adoption becomes an aspect that plays a key role in our society today. It serves as a new lesson for parents who are facing tons of difficulties in their marriage life, and it gives an opportunity for children to feel the sensation of being taken care of in a way that they are not just being served their necessities, but also receiving the emotional care and forming personal bonds. I personally believe that adoption is a significant option for families who can give a child the love they deserve and truly need. So that's all from me. Thank you.